Hello jammy gamers, welcome to another base concept tutorial, more of an outpost tutorial really. So we're going to go through two different ones today to try and mix it up a bit, try and change the vibe. And we've got this one, the tower base. So it's a very simple tower in the middle, column of reinforced concrete with 3 bands of spikes. We've even got some barbed wire there to help slow the zombies down. With inner walls, layered walls really, and a ladder with just a little jump so zombies can't get up onto the platform here of iron bars. I've done separate tutorials on things, well, shorts on concrete, iron bars. And you see the use of the poles there as a little corner divide. It's really going to be quite helpful. And again, although the concrete might be slightly later game and the iron bars as well, and you've got the amount of iron for this quite a large build, the zombies are going to really struggle to get up there. It might be a bit labour intensive with the wood, but you know, it's not that bad. Now if we move on to the second concept that we're going to show you with this fancy fade out, we've got a drop cage example. So very similar to the pyramid base, although this time what I've done is I've dug out a massive hole. We've got the cage up the top and these 4 spiraling ramps to then bring the zombies back up to enable that recycling theme of zombies come Horde night that we discussed on the previous pyramid drop base video. Now this one will be using the hatches again. My only concern, even with these steel vault doors and these iron bars to help protect me, my only concern again would be zombie policemen. Now if zombie policemen were to get right on the front, I'm sure we can still smash them, we can destroy their heads, we can get some good shots in as well with guns. But my concern, like I say, is going to be them exploding. That secondary attack, it absolutely wrecked the pyramid base at the top there. So that would be, again, a concern. But as a concept, early game with different materials, definitely viable. But let's jump into the tower one. So then having a look at this tower one in slower motion, it does look a little bit jittery there. I think that's where it's an old PS4 game. So slowing it down really doesn't help the look and feel of the frames. But we've got our lighting as well. Now in this particular example, I was still playing with a default gamma, which means the shading and things, it is a very dark game all in all until you do go onto the main menu and you do change the visual options and the gamma to improve. But you can see there the central column is a 3x3 reinforced concrete pillar with a 1 gap in the middle for the ladder to go up. And you've got these 3 rows of spikes and ramps to help zombies to travel over and smash as they go through. Even the lighting here is going to be 2 ramps, so should the zombies decide to pathfind that way, they'll go up the ramp and then drop down, not hitting the torches, not affecting my visibility and all that good stuff. Wiggling on through, we got chests for all the zombie loot, and we've got barbed wire on the innermost circle there to really help slow the zombies down, let those and help those headshots be that little bit easier for me. Now if we speed this up, so this is ×2 and we're up at the top again, slightly different day, and the game has been really kind really. They're going to give us a very small day horde just to demonstrate, a quick demonstration before we do a horde night in a minute of the rows of spikes sort of in action. So you see all the legs are broken of these zombies, which is, I find it a little bit easier, you know, it slows them right down. The barbed wire really doing a good job in really slowing them down, and I can just land those shots where I want to. Predominantly headshots, well that's what I wanted. Whether I can actually, if I've got the skills to actually get those headshots is another thing, but you know, it slows them down, it damages them well enough. Now if we go to the drop base, we're underneath here, trying to dig that hole. Now the hole, I just used a auger to try and dig it all out. You'll notice that this is day 1, so this is on a creative world, but look at that landslide, look at that cave in. beautiful, just opening up on those very blocky, framey PS4 alpha game graphics. But this day one cheat world, completely different to my ordinary one, and it's just really to demonstrate that this horde base in a bit of a quicker space. Now, using the rocket launcher again on this cheat world is so much fun. Just really clearing out the rest of that dirt that I don't need. And the lighting, you can see it's really dark again. What we're going to do is we're just going to turn up the brightness in a second for you. There you go. But I won't be able to do that for each and every single clip. It does throw wobbly on CapCut, and it's not that smooth post-production. So we'll try and keep the brightness adjustments to a minimum. And moving forward on my gameplay, I'll try and turn up the gamma. Although I just find it a little bit cheaty. I want to try and keep the game as vanilla as possible, unless I'm turning up things like the difficulty to make it actually harder. But let's carry on clearing out some of this stuff and carry on working on those staircases. So here we've actually got the floor leveling all out, so it's nice and flat. I'm going to put it in super speed here, just to gain some momentum in the video, because you know we don't really want to look at me upgrading a floor. That's not the interesting part of the video. Once we've done the floor here, we start working on more of the ramps going up the side. So it's going to be 4 ramps, and they almost look a bit like a spiral, like I mentioned at the beginning of this video. Now, if you've seen the pyramid base concept, go check it out if you haven't. But that just used one door to try and recycle zombies. So the zombies would fall down the gap that I leave at the top using the plate exploit to create a gap whilst maintaining the structural integrity of the build. Go have a look at the structural integrity video, or even the short, to give you a little bit more of an understanding of structural integrity and what the mass and the weight and all that sort of means for your builds. But this is what I wanted to try and do. I'm just filling in those walls as well, so we're not got too big gaps, clearing out more of the dirt at the top, just to create a sort of flatter and more rounded shape, so those ramps can go up, and that'll be after the zombies fall down into the hole. They can just keep being recycled until I deem I have enough time to concentrate on those zombies on that entrance to then destroy their heads and survive the horde night. That's the idea of it. Let's turn the brightness up for you guys again. Again, very dark clip there, but it's night time again. It's a dark game, and this just makes the game. I feel the darkness, the grittiness. It's supposed to be a scary game, and when you're left out in the wilderness, you know, no mates around to try and help you, it can be a scary game. The noises, the screaming. So the darkness, I can only half apologise for, but I've turned it up just for this clip, just to help you out a little bit. Now if we're zooming through again, we can do a couple more steps of the drop base. You see, we're just clearing out, creating that clean edge along the side for the zombies to sort of pathfind a little bit easier. You don't want them getting caught on anything. And then we'll just drop back to the tower base right now, and we'll just jump into a horde night. This is day 154, so good sort of mid-late game kind of level here. The game score will be variable depending on what sort of experience and sort of that you got going on. Let's have a little look. So here, just slightly tweaked and turn the brightness up again for you. You can see it was working really well. You've got enough space. You can shoot through the iron bars. You don't need to shoot through necessarily the gaps of the iron bars. You can just shoot through the iron bars as a whole. But the gaps between the iron bars and the pole are really handy there. It's crucial for the structural integrity, but then it's also extremely handy if the cop zombies are going to spit or vomit up towards you, to create that bit of a block and that barrier, so there's less room for that to come through. There should be 2 examples of that throughout this clip, so keep an eye out. You might be able to hear them, but otherwise we'll just keep going through, and I'm not going to stop or point it out necessarily. But it's strong, right? The zombies know where you are. This is a 360 view, so we're not in the city where they could get caught on buildings. This is an outpost, or it's a fob away from my main base, so all that time and the delicate and the expensive resources of my main base, I'm going to get damaged. It's just the wood of the spikes, right? And yeah, potentially frustrating having to go along, collect all the loot, destroy all the corpses, you know, get rid of those gore blocks. But you know, it's a scavenging game. I think that most of the players of 7 Days to Die, they are hoarders as well. So they will enjoy getting all the loot, and they will enjoy stacking it up. So it's not really that big an issue. But you know, with something like this, with the amount of maintenance to get it back to 100%, that would be the most part of the next day to gather all those resources, store them away temporarily, fix all the spikes and any other mishaps of the base, and then transport all those goodies back to a more safe and secure location. Okay, so that's something to bear in mind. Something like the city hatch base that I just put out another video for. I changed the thumbnail to make it more attractive. Give it a look and a watch if you'd like. I think that's maybe slightly better. It's more successful than the pyramids base for one. So if you've seen the pyramid one, go check out the city horde base as well as this concept video. But those have a limitation, right? So the doorways that the zombies are coming through, there can only be one gore block on the floor at one time. So if you're destroying 5, 10 zombies in that one square tile, it's only going to stack that one body. So you've lost all those different gore blocks and all that different loot. So that's not a good thing. So having a wider space like this type of concept is better for loot. And you're even less likely to get struck. Like a feral zombie there, like, they're not going to reach you. The policemen are not going to reach you. My only small concern with this one, which is, you know, I don't have the concerns of policemen getting too close necessarily, not like the other bases, definitely not like the pyramid base, right at the end of the horde night there. My concern would be if a policeman got stuck underneath you. Now, iron bars should have enough health points if they're completely undamaged to withstand the explosion. Now, I just don't want to stress test that and find out exactly what the breaking point is, or even if that blast can come through the iron bars and damage the player. Let me know in the comments if you do know the answer to that. I'd prefer not to find out, not on my survival world over 100 and so days. I think I'm actually up to about 180, 190 now. But that's a tower based concept. I recommend building it as a fob or just an experiment. So enough of the tower, let's jump onto the drop base again. Now we're going to be doing a floating base for the cage. Now if you haven't seen the floating base tutorial, go check it out. But you have the plates on the bottom, and then you've got to turn around the plates so that they're on the top of the block. So effectively there will be a like a 1.8 block gap in between that first plate and the second plate. You see, we're posting the plate down on the bottom here, and then we come round and we change the location to the top of the block for the second plate, and that creates that nice wide gap. Now all of the zombies, even the policemen, will fit under there. It's just the taller 3-block high ferals that won't be able to squeeze underneath that. So those are the only ones you're going to want to look out for. But really, with the spiral staircases, the recycling of the zombies should alleviate any of that sort of worry or threat of feral zombies destroying things that they possibly that you don't really want them to. Now, even if they were to destroy one block here, one block there, the tight-knit formation of those plates, so they're in a 3x3 sort of shape, that's going to support the cage. So you don't really need to worry about it, not unless they start chiseling away at more than one. So 2, I'd start to get a little bit worried. 3, you're likely to have a structural cave in there, which nobody wants. Now let's speed it up a little bit now. So you know, we've all got things to do. Let's start crunching on. So we've got the blocks here instead of plates. That just makes it a little bit quicker. And then we're going to start working on the cage itself. Now I'm just going to speed this up. It's going to involve a lot of iron bars, some more plates and some vault doors. So pause it as and when you can, or there is the slow down option on video options for YouTube. So do that, but I'm going to speed it up because I'm sure the majority of you just want to get to the end. Great, and then we're just popping down those vault doors. So these are the steel ones. Thought process being is that it's going to give you that extra bit of protection, but their health is quite so much more. And then we've got the scrap iron frames here, so a bit better than wood. You could build it out of wood. Again, really the only things that are going to destroy that would be natural crawlers or normal crawlers if they do fall down and start breaking their legs. Multiple drops down are going to really start to damage the zombies. So crawlers as a whole, they can destroy the hatches. That's not a the exploit isn't going to prevent that. Or otherwise it's going to be the zombie policemen that are going to come really close and want to blow up. But you can see as a concept the cage is working really well. If we look here, I'm going to use quarter blocks. Now not every building material type has quarter blocks, but they are quite handy. They do stop the spiders coming over the top. I've tried and tested that, not like the pyramid base where the spiders did manage to climb over the top. But later game, when you got the big fancy stronger weapons with some skill points into it, they're less of a threat, right? And they're just a bit of a surprise that we don't really want. Now, pretty self-explanatory, the rest of the build here. Let's just skip forward a tiny bit faster. And then we come to the walk around again. So we've done the tower base, hope you enjoyed that one. This is the drop base again, and it's a completed stage. We're not going to stress test this for zombies, but as a whole you can see you've got the plates here for zombies to go underneath, just as I demonstrated, and again, and the 4 staircases to help recycle the zombies. Now my concerns, like the pyramid, would be that the policemen can get too close. The gaps on the corners of the iron bars are quite wide. But as a whole, early game made out of wood, this would be a really good one. Okay, so give it a go. Let me know if it does work. Later game, that's where my concern would be. Or even if you want to do it a little bit shallower. So I did do a very deep hole. Let me know if you do a shallower one and whether that works. I am still very interested and would love to hear from you. But otherwise, give us a like and a subscribe. It does really help our very small channel. It makes it more worthwhile as well, and we'll let us know if you want to see anything more in particular, and we'll do that for you. But thank you very much for your time, and we'll see you on the next one.